Hey guys, Harvey, the founder of Rico, and welcome to our Why Cali series, a series of interviews with calisthenics athletes, trainers, and coaches, finding out why they started calisthenics, what it means to them, and some tips and challenges that they faced along their journey. So, hope you enjoy this interview, and let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of the Why Cali series. We are here today with Jordan. How's it going?
Yo, what's up, people? All good, bro. All good. It's blessed out here.
Excellent stuff. So, Jordan, thanks for joining us today. What I'd love to do is just maybe start at the start of your journey, take us back to kind of when you started in calisthenics and kind of how you got into the sport.
So it started for me towards the end of uni time. So I was at university, started going to the gym when I was about 18, halfway through being 18. Did a lot of gym stuff, lifting weights, all that kind of stuff. And then towards the end of like third year, fourth year, I started getting into like Cali more. I saw someone do like, it's that classic story, saw someone do a muscle up, things like that. So I wanted to learn how to do that. That kind of then led me onto YouTube and finding out how to do it, down the rabbit hole kind of thing. Handstands came next, all of that. And then I kind of started to transition through from lifting weights to Cali as well. So I went through that, and then I got to a point where I dropped out of uni in my fourth year. Like it really just wasn't working for me.
Yeah.
And then from that, like I was kind of getting more into Cali. Like I started finding out more about athletes competing, that you could compete, that people are also making a career of this.
Yeah.
So at that time where like I realized that for me, I had to be doing something I really enjoyed, just for where like my mind was at the time. I was like, I'll make a go out of this. Like, I'll do coaching, also compete, and then content side of things as well. And then it kind of just kind of grew from there. I would say in a short term.
Yeah. So you had that brief introduction and then just got hooked and sort of continued on the journey.
Yeah, but like I never really wanted to, because it started like as an aesthetics thing. Like I just wanted to look like good. And then I kind of started as I wanted to build more of like a gymnast. I wanted to look strong. I didn't want that bodybuilder physique. For me, it wasn't for me. So then, I started seeing people doing this and then getting into Cali. I was like, yo, that starts getting people jacked. So I was like, I'll jump on that. And then it kind of just turned into like, it became nothing about the way it looked. It was the fact that like, just how it felt, like being able to do cool things with your body, having that control. It was different. So yeah, it was that little like bug, I guess.
Yeah. And I think like it's kind of mad, isn't it? Because when you're looking at it, you might think, oh yeah, it's just like using your body weight, it's a few pull-ups, few push-ups, like doing that sort of stuff. But actually doing it and moving your body in that way is like an incredible amount of strength that doesn't really compare. Like it's a completely different like way of training, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's so different and also very humbling. That's one thing I liked about it, like because I've always been someone like in terms of when it comes to like physical things, like if I see it, like I want to try it. And most of the time, like I think like I can do it. And there's the same thing with Kelly. I was like, I'll give that a go. So much more harder than like I anticipated.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it just offered something different.
How did you find that progress then? So like obviously coming into it from like doing weights and like the gym, like then going into Cali, like you said, humbling, like you face a lot of failures, you're not going to get it first time. Like how did you find that like progression and just keep pushing through?
The progression I found in terms of what it did for my body, I think it changed how my strength was working. Obviously, I was doing a lot more isolated movements in the gym. So I think incorporating more compound, more foundation, push ups, all that kind of stuff changed my strength completely. But in terms of progressions, I actually thought once I started doing Cali, things came quicker.
Okay.
Because I think I started structuring things better. And also, I think starting from the foundation, you learn more about the basics. I think sometimes when you get into the gym, can be a very like your ego can get a hold of you in the sense that like you think it's about pushing big weights. So like sometimes a lot of the time you jump on heavier weights than you need to, just because you think that's what you should be doing, pushing big weights. And yeah, it feels nice to like hit a good bench press or a good squat or something like that. But you can do too much of it sometimes. Whereas like a front lever, for example, or handstands, like you really have to go through each progression first before you get to the harder, more impressive stuff. If that makes sense.
It's almost like unlocking the certain elements and the skills and the strength to be able to kind of progress onto the movements, isn't it?
And also there's a lot. What I prefer is there's so many different. There's little steps that you accomplish. Those progressions. There's far more little steps I think that you focus on. So even though like okay, you'll go weightlifting might be to go from 30 kg to 40 kg dumbbell chest press or something like that. Whereas and the progression's always going to be the same. It's always you're going to go up 2 kg, whatever you go up. It's the same thing. It's the same pattern of movement. Whereas handstand or front lever or anything like that, you go from your push-ups, your pull-ups into half levers, banded work, and then you get so it's like it always changes. It's always giving you something new to focus on. And for me, that works so much better for my brain because if something goes on for too long, I can get distracted and kind of like put off with it. So like these little things kind of help me stick to structure better. I think allow me just to progress a little faster and more efficiently.
And it keeps you chasing goals which aren't kind of like how much weight you can lift or like based on numbers, isn't it? It's more about performance.
So yeah, exactly that. It's the numbers game for me got a little bit boring. Like I said, like it was just from the day I started to the day I kind of started switching and making that change. It was the same thing. It was the same kind of exercises. And okay, yeah, you can variate things and whatever, but predominantly like you're always going to be doing your squats. You're always going to be doing your bench press, rows, all that kind of stuff. It stays the same.
Yeah.
So it was the variety and how everything became new. Everything was new. The next step was always different to the last.
And John, what made you kind of want to transition into coaching people and kind of helping them on their journeys as well? Where did that all kind of start for you?
Even like at the gym, I had a friend at uni that we went through, and we started eating properly together. And I helped him a lot with my strength was probably a little bit more advanced than his at the time. So like things like pull-ups, and when I started getting into Cali, he couldn't do any pull-ups. So like going on that journey with him and helping him through that, though I wouldn't call that coaching, it was still aiding someone towards that kind of goal. And I started to realize you get the same feeling of achievement helping someone get there as when you first unlocked it. And then that kind of went on to the next person that I was training with. And because Cali wasn't really even a thing like back at home, like a lot of my friends, some of my friends that I started training with, we started doing more Cali stuff. And it was like that realization that you also got, you see it in somebody else and you share that same energy. So like unlocking someone's first muscle up, things like that, it felt good. And again, like from leaving uni, I realized what I was going into isn't what I enjoyed doing. So I was like, I need to make something out of this. I enjoyed doing Cali, so coaching is one of those avenues as well. So as I started getting into it, and then I just realized more that it's something I really enjoy doing. Helping people, doing something better with their lives.
Yeah.
And also improving their mindset, because it's something that really helped me with my mindset. Like I was very depressed during uni, and it helped me kind of pull me out of that, looking after myself physically and mentally. I think my journey in Cali really taught me a lot in that sense. So sharing that with others and being able to help other people the same way I was helped it's a nice feeling. It's a good thing. So that's the main reason, really.
I think it's incredible, and I think there's a couple of things in there that I think like is really important. And how important do you think it is to, like recognize and actually do things that like do make you happy? Because you said you're at uni, weren't happy, it wasn't what you wanted to do, but you actually took made that change to switch it and go a different route. Like that's not an easy thing to do. Like how important do you think that is, and what kind of role did that play in your sort of journey, do you think?
I think it's such an important thing to do. Like one person who kind of put me on that idea was Gary V. You know the
Mm.
Gary Vaynerchuk,
Yeah, yeah.
most
Big up,
likely.
big up Gary
And
V.
yeah, for real, because it was that idea of so many people, and I see it around me all the time, and I'm sure you do, and most
Mm.
people who like listen to this will relate. They know someone who's working a 9 to 5 or working a job that they don't enjoy,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe it brings, financing, it might pay well, it might be like something that they see as the only opportunity that they have, kind of thing. But I didn't want to be that kind of person. Like, I'd seen the result of that, of people who'd worked 30 years in the industry that they didn't enjoy it and it didn't make them happy. And they had
Mm.
a lot, like as I'm talking about family and friends, people who have a lot around them, like materialistic wise.
Mm.
They go on holiday, they go to nice places, but really like they spend most of their time in a place they're not happy.
Mm.
And I think that has like a serious mental effect on you. And it was the same thing at uni. I was studying something I didn't really enjoy.
Mm.
And it really took a big mental impact on me. So I decided like I knew the outcome of doing something I didn't enjoy.
Mm.
So I might as well roll the dice on something that I do enjoy and does make me happy. And I know I can do when maybe I'm not feeling too great or I'm not
Mm.
feeling like my best self. But I'll still get out of bed and I'll still go do that thing,
Yeah.
even if I don't do anything else. So I think, yeah, I rolled the dice on it and it worked
Mm.
to a degree. Like it was so far so good.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's people are scared to do it.
Mm.
I think it's a very risky thing. Um, but I definitely think like you should definitely at least if even outside of work, just do something that makes you happy.
Why do you think people are scared? Why do you think it's a scary thing to do?
I think a lot of the time it's external
Mm.
because I think even going back to education, we're never really taught to go like actually go follow your dreams. Like you really can be anything you want to do. I
Mm.
really believe in that. We're kind of taught like you should get a job, go to uni, get a degree, go get a safe job that will pay your pension, da, 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 da. You can get good holiday with this, good pay with this.
Mm.
And I think we're kind of seeing the repercussions of that now in a
Mm.
lot of people. Now that like mental health has become far more aware with people and people are taking note of actually how they're feeling about things. You see it around the whole world. So
Mm.
many people like stuck in a rat race kind of thing. So yeah, I think it goes to education. I think we're not really installed in that belief
Mm.
that you can go out and do things. Like I said, Gary Vee was that person who kind of like was like, "Yo, go do it. You
Yeah.
can do it. Anybody can do it. You just got to work. You got to
Mm.
work at it. You got to believe at it. It takes time, and
Yeah.
also it takes time. It's that it takes time, and it's not comfortable. It's not a comfortable situation. You're
Mm.
constantly doing stuff. You're tired. You got there's a lot to do.
Mm.
Whereas I think other lifestyles provide a little bit more comfort
Mm.
and you know what I mean. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think like what you said about, it takes time and it not, I think there's also a chance it might not work out. Like you could have, you know,
Mm,
you could have failed or it not be something you want to do. And I think that,
mm,
like, I think that can put a lot of people off. But I also think there's an alternative where if it doesn't work out, like if it doesn't, you can always go back to that life. You can always go and get another job. You can always go and do it. But, you may never get that opportunity again to go and follow that dream, or that
yeah.
opportunity might not present itself again. And sometimes you just got to take it. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But what about if it does? And I think that's what you got to kind of focus on.
Exactly. Like go back to saying like if you know your situation, if you know like what you're doing now currently doesn't make you happy, roll the dice. Because I can tell you now, like if it doesn't make you happy now, it's not gonna make you happy in 5, 10, 15, 20 years time. That like that feeling that you have inside, doing something you don't enjoy will stay with you. And it
Mm.
will only build up. So like roll the dice. Especially if you're in your 20s and things like that, it's okay, you can fuck up.
Mm.
And I think that's the thing, like as well, like people think that they can't make mistakes. And that if they make mistakes or they take the wrong path, that there's no going back.
Mm.
You can, like you said, like you can go back to what you did.
Mm.
And if we're lucky enough, like I think for a lot of us, especially in the UK, like we're very lucky where we can go back. We do have people who can support us if we fall down a little bit. It's not like you're leaving the country somewhere else, and if you give up what you give up, that's it. There's no kind of going back. Like, we're very lucky. So if you do have that opportunity and that support, take it. I was very lucky with that. I had the support, and my family have always allowed me to do what I want to do as long as it makes me happy. Kind of thing. So if you've got that, take it, do it.
Yeah, and I think both, like, kind of following your dreams, and whether it's like business or health or whatever it might be, I think there's a lot of lessons and a lot of similarities in fitness as well. And I think a lot of the same principles apply. Like, you know, if you take your Cali journey, you didn't nail a handstand first time you tried it. You know, you had to fall down a couple of times and keep at it and keep at it and keep at it. And that's hard in itself, you know, but that's where you see the progress, you know. And it's the same with your dreams or your business or whatever it is. Like, you're not going to nail it first time. You're not going to get it. If you do, wow, incredible amount of luck to nail it first time. But it's just about taking those little failures and those little mistakes and thinking, okay, cool, moving on from it, taking it into the next practice or next play, next meeting, and improving. And that's where you see the growth, you know. But you're right, it's uncomfortable to do.
Yeah, you've got to suck at it. You really have to be bad. Yeah. I think a lot of us, me, like, speaking on me mostly, you can be afraid to be bad at something. You don't want to go do it because, like, it sucks to be bad at something. Like, a lot of times, for me anyway, in sport, I've been lucky enough to be good at a lot of sport growing up. And Cali was one of those things where, like, there's some things you just be good at. Like you said, the handstand goes out, you're not going to catch it. It takes that. And also, like you said, that teaches a lot throughout other things in life. I think that's what Cali's really good.
Yeah. And I think there was another part about what you said, where you said that Cali really played a big part on, like, your mental health and your mindset as well. Do you want to, like, explain a little bit about that and how it kind of transformed your kind of mindset and the role it kind of played?
So in so many ways. Like uni, I suppose, because I never really got well with, like, education in school, like sitting down, doing homework, type of stuff. I was never that good. Never that good. So maybe if I was talking to, like, a younger version of me, I would have probably said at the time, uni's not your thing. But here we were anyway. I spent a lot of my time kind of just chilling, playing PlayStation, smoking a lot of weed, going out, drinking, all that kind of stuff. So going starting my Cali journey and then going into it when I started serious, because I started to take my training seriously, it turned into a thing where I didn't really want to be sitting there smoking all day. I didn't want to go out and be drinking in the evening, type of thing. You know, because I had to train the next day. I had to train, like, this day, that day. So in terms of, like, what I was consuming, it improved my lifestyle a lot. Not just on that side of things, like my social side of things, but my nutrition side of things. I started doing more research and trying to understand what I should be putting into my body, and also what maybe I shouldn't be putting into my body. But I think looking after your physical helps a lot with your mental. And then going into that fitness route more, I think you start go down that kind of rabbit hole. You start looking after this part and this part and this part, and you kind of just want to keep on improving. So that Cali, in terms of that, it helped me just look after myself better, I think. And also realizing slowly that through doing small steps and being patient, as another thing, like being patient and going through the processes, doing all these things, the feeling it can give you in achieving something is incredible. Like, it's mad. So there's so many different ways that, like, Cali improves your physical, your mind, your spirit, everything.
And I think it's, like, about as well finding something that you enjoy. You know, like, you were in a mindset before where you didn't enjoy what you were doing. It sounded like you're like, you know, we're going through the motions, but it wasn't what you actually wanted to do. It's only until you kind of found that focus that you almost found that switch, would you say? Or
yeah, for sure. It was that. And also, like, I wasn't in an environment what I was enjoying. So when it comes to talking with people as well, I wasn't really conversating about things that I enjoyed or that I really wanted to talk to people about because I didn't really see them as my kind of people. But I
Yeah.
was in the wrong environment. It had nothing to do with them. I wasn't their person, if that makes sense. So even in a social aspect, I became very recluse and very introverted. And then Cali getting involved in the community, starting going down to like Elysium Park and chilling with all those people down there, the still warriors who do so much. They really helped me start to like. I realized that being in the right environment that your social aspect improves a lot. And that's one thing like I love here. That doesn't matter who you are, how old you are, what age, what you look like, doesn't really matter at all. If you're willing to come here and have some fun and bring some good energy and just give some effort, maybe not your complete best. Like everybody's chatting, everybody's trying to help each other improve. So yeah, even in a social aspect, it helped me a lot. I think just getting down there and being part of a community that you feel you belong to.
Yeah. Awesome. And so just to touch on that then, at the moment, so you're currently out in India at the Asylum Park, is that right?
Elysium.
Elysium Park.
Elysium Park, yeah, in Mumbai. We've got 2 parks.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about that then. How did that come around? What are you sort of doing out there, and what's the whole kind of mission behind what you guys have got going on?
So it started probably just after lockdown. And I started to decide like, okay, like where do I want to work? How do I want to do this? How am I going to start like becoming a coach, building me as a brand and whatever. And I always wanted to work abroad anyway, because back at home is like in Surrey, like it lacks some culture to a degree. It's it's one type of people kind of thing. And it kind of lacks diversity and culture and things like that. And so for me, I always kind of wanted to get out from home. That same thing you can go back to. I've always wanted to go to India. Also, like you're doing in terms of the networking approach. And I think it's super important to go to places around the world and talk to these people. Even as an athlete, as a coach, I think the best thing you can do is go out and find different people from different areas, different backgrounds, and kind of take bits and bobs from all of them. Kind of like we do in Cali, like in the sports, we take so much from here, there, and everywhere, and that's what for me makes it such a great sport. So I started looking at different places here, America, because they got their Cali scene, of course. Canada, I was also looking at. Just bits and places through Instagram. And then I found this place. So I was like, now might just be the perfect time. Like I'm young, I've not really got any responsibilities, no wife, no kids, nothing like that. I could go to India, don't have to stay in luxury, not slum it, but I can stay in those cheaper places and sleep on the floor here, you know? So I was like, this is what I'll go. So I found this place, get in touch with them. I was gonna go out in May last year, but things kind of changed work-wise, so I stayed at home for a little bit longer. And thought I'd go out in a proper season to come out to India. So one thing led to the next conversation, and I was like, look, I really wanted like an internship, because they were doing internships. I was like, let me know how I can get this. So they said, send me your stuff, your CV, whatever else. I just completed like level 2, level 3 personal training, so like I had some qualifications and things like that. So I was like, I'll go out there, messaged them. We had the interview, things like that. So they said, yeah, come out, do an internship with us, get some experience, see what it's like in India. And then they actually had a competition that Spartan Jay was judging. So I was supposed to come out for that, but visas was a huge nightmare at the time. They're just taking us off the EVs and everything, so everything was super long. So I got here a little bit later. And then, I arrived here. They welcomed me in amazingly. Like the hospitality out in India is insane. But it's a bit of a hectic place, especially from coming from back home. I think, and like Western society, it's so different over here. It's beautiful, but it's very different.
Yeah.
So slowly, I started getting involved, taking warm-ups here and there, getting involved, shadowing clients, because I'd never done it in a gym like environment back at home. I'd just done friends, those family friends. So in terms of more of like a professional environment, this provided it here for me. And then, so I mean, these lot are mad. These lot are crazy. We've got two parks out here. So one in Malad, where we're at now, which is the main one. And then we've got one down in Bandra, which is about half an hour, 40 minutes drive away.
Mm.
They opened the park 5 years ago. We just celebrated their 5-year anniversary. And then at the time, they had just opened just kind of during COVID, before COVID, I think, or along those lines, 2018. So when the lift came and you could start going to outdoor gyms, normal gyms didn't open. Everybody started coming here. Everybody came here because it was like one of the only places that you could come to for outdoor training.
Wow.
And that's how Cali kind of blew up here. Like this place really, like it was India's first calisthenics park.
Wow.
Official calisthenics park. So like they did an absolute madness out here. They opened another park. Kirsten, who is the founder of the park, constant workhorse, but really looks after this team. It's a real family environment for us. So as well as running sessions and gyms and things like that, we have our own team of athletes, through beginner to intermediate. We've got 8-year-olds, real little ones, the older people as well. So they do. It is a business, but also it's like a competing thing as well. It's a family. It's a symbol, I guess.
Amazing. And how important is that community aspect, and what kind of role has that played in your journey and what you're doing out in India at the moment? Like, how important is the community?
I think it's so important because at the moment, like we're at a time where I think there's a lot of, you could call them like OG athletes and things like that, who've done so much for the sport when it was underground, and now everything's really popping up and starting to pop up, especially out here. So I think we're in a super blessed position as a community it's important that we link, we make all these connections and things like that. So that was one of the reasons why I came out to network and make these connections and things like that, because I think that's the best way you can build yourself as an individual. But as a whole, like if we've got these links, we can start to actually build something on a huge global level.
Yeah.
It already is. But to continue doing that, you know, so I think communities are a massive thing, not just from the growth and business side of it, but as individuals. I think we're growing like the community is mad.
Yeah.
The support is amazing. I think we need a little bit more of that in the world as well. I feel like we're very separated into lots of different categories, socially, politically, and things like that. And that's one thing that Cali's great for. Doesn't matter like your political background, your religious background, where you're born at home, doesn't matter. Especially here, we got all sorts of different types of people. Like more extreme than it would be at home. You got some kids who are super, super poor as well. You got some super, super rich people. And in a lot of other places, like from your day to day at the shop or passing down the road, they'd never speak to each other, ever. The same thing at home. There'd be people who just wouldn't talk to each other because of differences. But it's like when you come to the park, you start training, all of that leaves. No one thinks about that. No one talks about that. Everyone's just there focused on what they're doing, how they can improve, how they can help others improve. So yeah, it's a mad one. The community's sick.
I think it plays a massive part in it, and I think it's like you said, it's surrounding yourself with those people who are that you resonate with, that are like-minded, that are on those same mission, that kind of share the same values, and they get the struggles as well as the ups and the downs. And I think it's so important in life to surround yourself with those people, because you build those bonds and you're stronger together, you know. And it's like, it goes back to like primal days, but you know, we belong in communities and tribes, and I think like once you find those people and you find who you connect with, like incredible things happen, you know.
Yeah, that's exactly that. You know, I think you need a positive environment around you. I think that dictates in a lot of ways the direction in which you head.
Yeah.
You know, the people you surround yourself with. Like you said, if you got people who strive in the right direction, then you progress so much faster. And not to say that there's a quick route to it, but I think together we can do so much more instead of just alone and individuals. That's how, like you said, back to primal days, that's how we evolved and come so far to where we are now, through working together. Like no one would have ever been able to do all of this by themselves.
Jordan, what do you think some advice that you would have liked to heard when you were starting out, or when you were in that kind of negative and down mindset, that you wish someone told you?
A few things, I guess. I think one of the most important ones is that you just got to ride the wave out. Like life is full of ups and downs, and where you are now, you might even come back to, but ride it out. Like the storm will pass and the sun will shine. Like life will get better. Stick with it. But also make sure that you're doing things to help you out. Like only you can help you.
Yeah.
That's like not the brutal reality of it, but that's just how it is. Like there's nobody who can help you pick you up from where you're from and take you anywhere. So
it's on you.
Make sure you look after yourself. Sleep well.
Yeah.
Don't sleep too much. Go out, leave the house, get some sunlight for a start. Speak to people, talk.
Yeah.
Like don't just bottle everything up in your mind. Don't think that you're alone, because we're all suffering the same things in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Different but same. Drink water, exercise, and eat good food.
I love it.
Really, those are my tips. I think regardless of what you got going on, it will certainly help you deal with whatever is coming at you far better if you're looking after your physical, mind, and spirit.
I think so.
And
John, we're going to move into a couple of quick fire questions now, so you can answer these as fast or as short as you want. But
hit me with it.
What was your favorite calisthenics move that you nailed?
That's a tricky one, because you have dynamics, and I think, 540.
540.
Because it took me so long to like fully understand it and get it, and I kind of grabbed it here and I grabbed it here. It took me like a whole year to like fully understand and be comfortable with it. So yeah, I'll say 540, because I really did not like that move, and now I love it.
And what was the hardest calisthenics move that you learned?
Hardest. Can I still be learning it, or is this something that I've already achieved?
Yeah, you still be learning it.
I would say planche. Which I think is so many people's answer. Tough. I would say in a lot of ways, just because it's a long journey. It's something that takes time, doing those little progressions, being efficient with your training. It's not like a dynamic move where you can kind of throw, like you really have to put work into the planche. So I'd say planche.
Awesome. And Jordan, what's the best advice you've ever received?
We're talking like Cali wise.
Any advice? Life, Cali, business, mindset, whatever it can be. The best advice that you've ever received.
That's such a broad thing. Do what you like. Just do what you love. Do what you love. Don't give a fuck about what anybody else has to say to you. Just like do what you want to do in life. That's what I would say.
I like that. And what's the worst advice you've ever received?
Worst advice. Worst advice. Don't quit my previous job. Stay and do the safe thing. Just and remember that you got things to do, bills to pay, a roof to put over your head. Just advice not to take risk.
I like it.
I would say.
Awesome. And finally, Jordan, as part of Rico and the brand, we want to inspire people to not just talk about change and not just, talk about making a difference, but actually get out there and make a difference and take action. And I really want to ask you, what does being the change mean to you?
Just doing a little bit and not having the mindset of what will my small contribution make. I feel like a lot of people are scared to make or do change or make a change on a grand scale, talking like you do in terms of the environment and things like that. But do your bit. Don't worry about what other people do. Do your little bit, because it will have an impact. It will have an impact on you, most importantly, the people around you. and also your environment. And if everyone was to do just a little bit, not a lot, I'm not saying give up your whole life or you have to be extreme about it, but just start doing a little bit. Because a little bit turns into a lot.
I love that. Small steps.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Take those small steps.
Jordan, it's been an absolute pleasure hearing your story.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Loved hearing your story, everything you've got going on. And where can people find you, follow you, and keep up to date with everything that you've kind of got going on?
So you can find me on Instagram at Fontaine Flow. That's where I'm at the moment. I look into getting into YouTube and things like that later. So yeah, come check us out. Not just me, but the people around me as well. There's some super inspirational people where I'm at now. So yeah, that's what I'd say. Or on the Elysium page, you'll find me somewhere from there.
Awesome.
So
Jordan, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Bless, my bro. Take care. Thank you very, very much for having me.